Welcome to the channel. My name is Caduce. I run a software company that's valuated at multi-seven figures right now, and we're doing pretty decent. We hit 79K per month recently. So I talk about SaaS, and if you're interested in anything SaaS related, or how to grow a SaaS, how to scale a SaaS, how I'm running my SaaS, then definitely check out the newsletter that I have below. It's completely free, bitbankclub.com. I think you'll get some value from it. But I want to tell you how I actually made close to 10K in a day. You caught me, all right? The title says 10K. It was better for the thumbnail, but I actually made like 97.85 or something like that. Pretty close to 10K. I want to tell you how I made almost 10K in a day. I think it was the largest day that we had, and give you two very fundamental ways to grow any software company while collecting very high cash up front. And I used actually both of these ways, and they work, beautifully, and I've seen other people use them. And at the end, I'm also going to talk a little bit, about something personal that I've been really thinking about, and a very existential crisis I've been going through because I'm 25 years old, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to tell you about the book that I read that led to something else, and led to this, and led to that got me thinking, and that's fucking having me kind of stressed out. But nevertheless, I want to give you some value first about how I made 10K, almost 10K in a day. And if you're interested in something like this, definitely like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is a personal channel of mine. But nevertheless, so you have a software company, maybe you're running it right now, you're at a few KMRR, 3 KMRR, 5 KMRR, 10 KMRR, and it's very hard to scale SaaS companies simply because the price point is kind of low, right? And I run a B2B SaaS, right? And for B2C SaaS, it's much harder because if running ads for B2C SaaS, essentially, there's two metrics that are very important: is customer acquisition cost and the LTV of the customer, right? So if your product is $9, right, $9, and they stay for a year, for example, and you get $108 LTV, which is a very great retention rate. The customer stays for a year. Usually customers churn within 3-4 months on average in the SaaS industry. Then what ends up happening is you have a LTV of $108. That means now when you acquire a customer, it has to be under $108, which is very, very difficult to do, right? Especially when you're doing something like paid ads or something like that. But if you're doing organic, right, with creators or something like that, it's a little bit different, right? But I'm talking specifically about B2B SaaS, and you can throw B2C in there. Customer acquisition cost and LTV is the same thing. But what I really focused on is, the LTV to CAC ratio, right? Because the most important thing is we have, a $99 subscription, again, not crazy expensive. And I have to compare our LTV to our CAC, right, which are customer acquisition costs. So if you're scaling any SaaS, those are the two metrics that you need to track. And basically the way that you do this to scale SaaS infinitely, right, what you want to do is you want to collect a lot of cash up front. For example, right, if you have a software company, let's say it's like $100 a month, but then there's a back-end offer that you can sell, right? And let's say you sell some sort of consulting, or you sell some sort of setup fee or whatever it is, and you collect, let's say, $2,000, right? Then that means now you have $2,000 plus, let's say, the retention of 6 months on the software platform, let's say a year even, right? At $100 a month, let's just make it easy numbers. You have $1,200 that they pay for every single year, month after month. And let's say they just churn. So that customer on the software just paying monthly is going to be at $1,200, and then you sell them this $2,000 consulting. That means if the LTV, right, let's say not everyone's going to take that consulting package, right? But let's say a few of them do, right? And there's some math behind this that I can explain in another video. But you collecting that cash up front for the consulting services allows you to collect that cash up front while you're growing your MRR, and then you take that 2K, right? And let's say it cost you $500 to acquire that customer, right? And you've made $3,200 revenue on that person. So you just take $3,200 minus the $500 you paid to acquire the customer. That's about $2,700, where you have now, let's just call it profit, right? So that means that essentially, you could take that $2,700 and part of it, and then you could just put it all into marketing again and acquire 5 more customers at $500 a piece, theoretically, right? And you do this enough times, and you begin to scale your SaaS infinitely because of the high ticket offer, right? And it's very, very important to create a high ticket offer in your SaaS. And that's kind of the reason why you want to create a high ticket offer, is to kind of increase the LTV and be able to acquire a customer for more money, but also do it in a healthy way where you have a lot of cash up front that you're getting from the customer. You don't have a buyback period. A lot of SaaS companies nowadays have a buyback period where, they're let's say their SaaS is $100 a month, and the person will stay for a year, right? $1,200, but then they acquire the customer for $500. And let's say they don't have the consulting package. Now they paid $500. Let's say the person signs on January, so they're still negative January, February, March, April, May, and then they're break even on May, and then May, June, they start to make their first profit, right? So this is kind of risky, right? Because obviously investors, any business owner wants to have profit up front. That's the most healthy way. Ideally, the most healthy way you want a business to be, right? I guess it depends on the industry, but let's just say ideally, that's essentially what you want on a fundamental level. You want business profit day one, right? So the way that we made 10K, and I've done both of these things, is really simple. Okay, we take our whole customer base, and there's two offers that we've ran, right? That work. So the first high ticket offer, I guess you can run an annual plan, right? An annual plan offer where you include a bunch of more stuff for the customer. So let's say if you have $100 a month, plan, you could tell them, hey, we'll, put you in a school group. Let's say you create a community, right? And instead of charging $50 a month for that community, say, hey, you join this community for free if you're on the annual plan, and we show you tips and tricks, and we have weekly calls on how to use the software and grow your business with the software, whatever that may be. You can get creative here, right? And then you sell more of those annual plans. So what happens then? So you basically blast your customer list, right? You sell something for $1,200, right? And we did this when we collected over $10,000 pretty quickly in a matter of 3 or 4 days, right? And I think less than that. And we collected over 10K selling these annual plans, and you could put them in a school group, for example, and they're enticed by that. They're like, oh my gosh, like the value of this. You could say the school group is like $100 a month or $50 a month, and say you get it for free when you join the annual plan, right? You're using the software anyway. You might as well get the software and then get into this group that allows you to use the software. They're number one, way less likely to churn, and number two, you collected so much cash up front, right? Which again allows you to put that into paid ads or another acquisition channel like YouTube or whatever, and acquire customers for less and not have this buyback period, because that the customer will pay you $1,200. Let's say out of 10 people that onboard, let's say even 2, right, are able to pay you, or 3 are able to pay you that $1,200. That's a pretty big difference, right? We're talking $2,400, $3,600. Very, very, very good. So I recommend that. That's the way that you can scale it. Blast your email newsletter, offer something that has the annual plan subscription in it, plus a bunch more stuff, and take sales calls and close people on that, right? Very simple. Again, I could go into this in detail, but I'm not a fucking Alex Hormozy that teaches you everything amazingly, and it's not like that, right? I'm just giving you some tips that I've used, and you can generally conceptually understand this and do it yourself. The second thing is you just run a high ticket offer separate from your software. Again, this is similar to the annual plan, but you're actually having a holistic approach to the high ticket offer, where it's actually a lot of investment on your part when it comes to fulfillment. I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot of investment, but I just mean more investment than just selling simply an annual plan with let's say a free community, right? Or some other free goodies that you have alongside that, like a one-on-one call with you to help you do XYZ. But the high ticket offer is something that's very consulting heavy. It could be a done for you. It could be a done with you offer. Like if you're running something like, let me think about this. So I'll give you an example, right? There's a software company I saw ran by a Rib, and his is Creo.ai, right? And it's basically a clipping software for people that, clip things of like these big streamers or whatever, and it has very basic TikTok edits that every clipper would use in this software, right? And that's very cheap. But if you blasted that list, for example, with a high ticket offer and said, hey, we'll help you, it's a coaching offer to make money clipping on TikTok, and you guarantee them 5 or 10K a month over, 5 or 10K a month clipping, and you kind of coach, you can sell our offer, for example, for 3 or 4K, and alongside that, you use your software, of course, as the tool while you're teaching them to grow their clipping, company or whatever. That's a big thing right now. Clippers are making, 10, 20, 30K, taking Aiden Ross's clips, Speed's clips, all that stuff, and compiling it into a, their social media profile across a bunch of faceless pages, and they're making 10, 20, 30 grand a month off of that, right? And the people are getting famous on top of that too. They're selling this as agency services, 5K a month, 10K a month, 8K a month for people that want to get famous, grow a personal brand, right? You do it by clipping. So that's a second way that you could do it, is selling a high ticket coaching offer. And you could do that, do it by just, whatever they want, right? And the thing is, if you don't know what they want, you just ask them. Just, blast, your customer base, right? And ask them, hey, like, is there any way that we can help you guys? I just want to take some calls and give them a $10 gift card or a $20 gift card, whatever it is, and take those calls on how they're struggling with whatever they're doing, and think of ways to help them, right? And that's number one, how you can create your annual plan high ticket offer, or number two, create your back end high ticket coaching offer or consulting offer, and or a done for you offer, done with you offer. So we did a done for you. It was 4K. We just started it with 5 people, and we collected off of that, and that allows us to grow, scale, and also with those testimonials, I can run another high ticket and have a bunch of cash, mostly profit, right? Because it's really skill based, on a skill based offer. So we take that mostly profit and just put it into scaling. Now our customer acquisition cost is very easy for me to handle because I have this huge high ticket coaching offer. And this is actually the same way that Hyros grew. If you know that software company by Alex Becker, he had, he was selling annual plans, and he had also a coaching offer before that. And then ListKit, for example, again, they have a done for you, email setup. So they have, the way they grew is they did it organically up until a certain period. And then they realized, all right, we're like, we need to scale through paid ads, and it's very hard. Again, that you don't want to have that buyback period. You want to be profitable day one. So they created a high ticket offer that was like 1,500, 200, 2,000, 3K, whatever it was, high ticket offer. I think it was 1,500, that allows them to run paid ads to that offer and then take that money back and include it. So now they're at, when that person signs on, they use ListKit, right? And they're able to pump that money back in. And if that person doesn't want to do the done for you setup, it's fine. They'll still end up using ListKit. And then just the few people that buy this high ticket offer, just because it's so expensive, you're throwing so much money back into the ads, right? And you don't have a buyback period. Your LTV increases, your CAC also decreases, and even if it doesn't increase, at least your buyback period decreases, right? Essentially, that's what we did. So there's two ways, again, to grow a SaaS, and sorry for making this video long, but it's very simple, right? Annual plan, high ticket offer, and the back end coaching offer / consulting offer, done with you, done for you, etc. Right? But I guess now that we talked about that, let's get to the good stuff. I mean, I could tell you that making almost 10K a day didn't really make a difference in my psyche whatsoever. It definitely allows you to think that something, things are possible. But man, like, I'm kind of even getting emotional talking about it, because like I was reading this book. Let me actually bring it. So there's a couple things that led to this, right? I was reading the Elon Musk biography by Walter Isaacson, and I'm not even like all the way through it yet, but it's really, really interesting fucking book. Like, I love it. And I just realized that although I love business and I love, content and running businesses, etc., I just felt like I had no meaning and no purpose. You could see numbers on a screen, and again, money doesn't really change your life too much to a certain point. At that point, once you start making enough money where you are free to some degree, where you're like, all right, dude, I could live anywhere, I could eat anywhere, and you have your basic necessities filled, then you start thinking, well, if I want to make more money while doing something I really enjoy, how would I do that? And I think that's when purpose and meaning comes in, and you can't really find this purpose and meaning unless you just do something first and then realize, do I like this? Do I not? And then you kind of reframe that. But me personally, I was reading this and I realized Elon Musk had so much purpose when running his companies. It was always an existential mission. It was always like, if we don't go to space and live on Mars, human consciousness, the flame of human consciousness could easily get destroyed by an asteroid, right? Or some event where we destroy ourselves, like nukes. We have a bunch of nukes now. And he always had so much purpose to what he did that he would work on companies for years and overcome virtually any problem, simply because, not only because of his merit, but also because he had a genuine reason that kept him up at night, And I think I don't really have that. And I think a lot of people don't, which kind of sucks, right? I think that's what put me in thought a lot. And I could tell you this, right? The reason why I was led to this conclusion of me not really having a very clear purpose, or something I need to reframe and work on and think about a lot more. Number one, the 10K I made, I mean, it didn't really hit me like it should have. And I don't think if that number on the screen was 20 or 30 or 50 or 100, it wouldn't have mattered, I think. But really what happened was, me and Iman, my partner for Infomail, we essentially stopped watching YouTube videos. So that was kind of like the key, right? So we would do a bunch of tasks. So every day we're working on the business, of course, but you always have something on YouTube or whatever in a different tab. You're hearing this shit, or you fucking have, like music playing or whatever. I'm not a big music listener, but let's say you have music playing or whatever it is, right? You get kind of carried away. And what ended up happening is Aman was like literally just not watching any YouTube videos. And usually he watches videos when he eats, and he watches videos when he works, etc. When he's developing, coding, whatever. And I noticed this, and I was like, dude, like, it's always silent in your room. He's eating in silence. He's fucking like chilling in silence. And then when we have our conversations, they become very introspective. He's like, hey, do I do this? Do I do that? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And like, he started asking questions, if he was happy, if he was doing what he liked to do. And then he started to uncover a lot of truths about himself. And I started to do the same. And there's definitely a lot of gaps I need to fill in my thought process and the way I think about things, simply because, we suppress a lot of our emotions and a lot of the things that we want to do, or our dreams or aspirations or whatever, simply because we we have too many distractions, and it's a very, it's not anything, it's not a new idea, but it really is a genuine problem, because people have so many dreams they want to accomplish, and they end up on Netflix after a work day to wind down, or they end up playing video games after a work day, or hanging out with friends, or drinking, or doing drugs, because there's so many options to suppress your emotion. And then, I mean, the real thing is, like, when you actually come back from a work day and you don't turn on anything, and you don't listen to music, and you shower with no music, and you stop watching videos and stop doing mundane tasks while you're listening to something on YouTube or listening to a podcast. You stop going to the gym while listening to a podcast or listening to music. When do we think? Like, I don't get it. Like, when do we think? We're always clogged. Like, our consciousness is always clogged by this bullshit, which is unfortunate. And people, of course, like Elon Musk, that were born in the 80s or whatever, they didn't have to deal with the same shit. And I think it was a big difference in the way people thought back then. People accomplished more back then, and they had more rich thoughts back then, because they weren't as distracted as we were. And I think the crisis that I'm coming along is like, look, I'm 25, and I have a pretty decently successful company, and I've learned a lot over the past couple of years, and I think I could really dominate an arena of business that I decide to put my mind to. But I'm like, damn, there's a lot of things I'm like checking off the list of things I don't want to do, like when it comes to business, right? You know, when it comes to, like, it really now for me, once I kind of am away from the software company and we sell it or whatever happens, or we step away from it, then what's going to end up happening is I'm really just going to go try to find my purpose. And I don't mean this traveling bullshit or where people are like going to go do drugs and ayahuasca. I really do mean, like, what do I actually care about? And I got this other book I'm going to show you really quickly. So there's this other book that I got. It's called My Principles, and it's based off of the First Principles book by Ray Dalio. It's more of an economics book that he wrote before that, but this one is a journal, and it's basically essentially a way for you to condense your decisions and categorize them in a way where you make decisions much more quickly, simply because you categorize them based off of your principles, based off of your own values. A lot of people become indecisive, including myself. Like, I just become indecisive. Should I do this? Should I do that? Because technically, sometimes your values can flee you, right? My values have definitely fleeted me a lot, and then they come back, you know. So it's really important. And this book has really helped me a lot. Another book that really changed the way I thought about business and creating something that really I want to create from pure purpose and meaning, so I can work on it for a really long time and have longevity in it, is 0 to 1, and is a book by Peter Thiel where he basically talks about how consulting and all these other businesses, quote unquote businesses that make a ton of money with high profit, are useless to creating a progressing world. Because progression comes from engineering. It comes from building something proprietary, something new. It doesn't come from globalizing things, duplicating things. You know, Uber's in fucking the U.S., so you take it to Singapore. That's not really what moves the world forward, right? It's about things that go from 0 to 1. Something that's never been created, that you know, from inception gets created for a meaning, for a purpose, and then lands at 1. And then someone takes it from 1 to whatever it is. So I think that really changed my perspective, and I'm on this search for meaning now. But yeah, if you are interested in videos like this and you fuck with these kind of videos, you're a SaaS owner, or you're into SaaS, or you're into business in general, definitely subscribe to my newsletter, specifically if you're into SaaS, because, you know, if you're building or growing a SaaS, that's how you qualify to get into the newsletter. And in there, I actually give you, like, the first email I give you is how we scaled our company to $79K per month, and the method that we used. So yeah, if you're interested in that, you can check that out, bitbankclub.com. If you like the video, like it, subscribe. I hope this video means something to someone, and maybe one person was like, hey, maybe I need to reevaluate things. And if you took anything away from the video, number one, about the SaaS part, sell high-ticket offers, annual plan, and coaching offers, etc., done with you, done for you. And the second thing is stop listening to music and watching videos, and notice how many times you like just go on TikTok, click the TikTok app, click the Twitter app, and click the Instagram app, and catch yourself every single time and be like, all right, like, and then just stay alone with your thoughts and see how that serves you. But anyways, if you like, subscribe, and peace out.